In this video, you will learn how your mental health affects your dating life and what to do about it. You will specifically learn why women value emotional stability, 6 quick habits to boost your mental health, and 3 long term changes for long lasting and great mental health. Stay tuned till the end of the video where we discuss all of this. Before we get into the meat of this video, let me introduce myself. I am Raghav. I create videos that focus specifically on problems that men face in their day to day lives with the larger goal of helping them get their lives together. Today, we'll be diving into part 3 of my Become More Attractive series, which is improving your mental health. So, let me start this topic off by saying that women don't want boyfriends out of pity. And that only happens with dogs or cats. They want a man who is happy and who can make them happy. Let me clarify that when I say happy, I don't mean someone who's always smiling, giggling, and laughing. That's not what I'm talking about. The definition of happiness in a man's life should be contentment, appreciation for life, living a life of purpose. And I'm also not stating that it's not okay for you to be sad. It's absolutely fine for you to be sad. But instead, what I'm trying to say is you need to learn to deal with sadness and to move on. Being in a state of sadness isn't really a great strategy for attracting women. And keeping this definition of happiness in mind, which is your ability to enjoy life, you need to be in a mental state where you can enjoy life. And this is where mental health comes to picture. If you're dealing with depression, anxiety, addictions, you cannot enjoy life. And the problem here is that we, as men, we take mental health for granted. Right? Most of the times we indulge in things which are extremely counterproductive, such as drinking too much, willfully ignoring relatively small problems until they become a huge issue, hanging out with toxic people, so on and so forth. And now you might be wondering how mental health affects your luck with women. So let me explain how that happens. So for the why part of this video, I want to build on 2 things, which I probably mentioned this earlier, which are nobody wants to be with an unhappy person. And the second point is men take mental health for granted. When I say nobody wants to be with an unhappy person, it goes beyond just preferring a fun or a cheerful partner. There is also a biological component at play. Mental health issues, including depression, often have genetic basis. Okay, so now let me walk you through a scenario. So consider a woman who marries a man with significant mental health challenges. If they have children, those issues may manifest in the next generation, potentially leading to behavioral and emotional difficulties. While she could eventually leave the marriage, she would still be responsible for raising children who may inherit similar struggles. If she stays in this marriage, then she needs to deal with not just one person with bad mental health issues, which is the husband, but also the kids. But on the other hand, if she chooses a partner with strong mental well being, their children are more likely to be happy, resilient, and emotionally stable. This in turn makes parenting a more rewarding and a less stressful experience. Over time, women have evolved to recognize this instinctively. Even if they don't consciously think about it or plan to have children, this is something which is always there in the back of their mind. And the second thing which I mentioned is that men take mental health for granted and women don't, because a man's mental stability affects the overall safety of a woman. I personally know guys who pick fights with random strangers under the influence of alcohol, and even in some cases when they're absolutely sober. And when even when they're with their girlfriends or wives, which puts them in harm's way for absolutely no reason than to just stroke their own ego. Forget about women, right? Nobody wants to hang out with a hothead. I personally don't. The sheer number of bar brawls that I've been pulled into just because one of my friends was a hothead is way too many times. And the other thing is, a man with unstable mental health can or will be a threat to her. Most domestic abuse cases are from guys who are impulsive and have rage issues. So if she sees you losing your rage at someone else, she will also be thinking that eventually you will lose your temper at her. And then what will happen to her? I hope this answers the importance of having a good mental health from a feminine perspective. Now that we've discussed the importance, let's move on to how to improve your mental health, or in other words, how to attain and retain a mental state where you can actually enjoy life to its fullest. The process which I'm about to discuss to improve your mental health is broken down into 2 major categories: short term and long term. Short term actions contains a total of 6 items that you can do to improve your mental health, where you can see an immediate result. Out of these 6, the first 3 are the same as what I've discussed for the things that you do to improve your physical health, which are sleep longer, eat right, and work out. I'll discuss the importance of these things first, and from the perspective of mental health benefits. So the first thing is sleep. Tired brains don't work right. There are numerous studies which shows how long, plentiful sleep improves your mental health, and how slow deprivation impairs it. That's one of the reasons why sleep deprivation is an effective torture technique. It drives people crazy, disrupts mood regulation, kills emotional resilience, induces psychosis, hallucination, makes you question your own sense of identity, and kills your capacity for rational thought. And you're probably doing most of this for yourself by keeping yourself up at night. So, as mentioned in the previous video, try to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep every day. If you want to know more about how to improve your quality of sleep, do check out my previous video that I will tag somewhere here, and where I discuss how to sleep quickly and how to sleep for longer duration of time. So the next one is nutrition. Malnourished brains don't work right either. Eating better will have a huge impact on your overall mood and stress tolerance. A good diet with no sugar, high protein will have a great effect on the bacterial ecosystem of your gut, which in turn can reduce inflammation throughout your body, brain, calibrate your hormones level, and elevate your mood. So don't expect to feel great when you're eating just junk food. And the third one is working out. If you've ever worked out ever in your life, at least once, then you know that working out makes you feel good. You might dread stepping inside the gym, and you might be miserable while you're working out, but you always feel great once you're done with the workout. And this mood stays for an entire day. Again, there are numerous studies which have shown the effect of exercise on mental health, and some studies claim that they are better than antidepressants because working out is the same process of regulating hormones, but without introducing external chemicals into your bodies. Thus, working out has zero side effects, whereas prescribed medications for mental health does have some side effects. Again, as mentioned before in this video, I'm only discussing the effects of sleeping right, eating, and working out has on your mental health. If you're looking for ways to improve your sleep, diet, and or like if you want to start working out, check out the other video where I discuss all of this in detail, and it also has a very quick starter workout plan for you. Now that we've discussed the fundamentals, let's move on to the remaining three short-term fixes. Out of my own personal experience, the next three short term things that you can do to improve your health are the quickest way to improve your mental health. The reason why I'm calling these things short term is because you will see the results of these actions in a week, or probably a little over a week, provided you all of them or most of them consistently. And I will discuss the long term things in the next part of the video. But getting back to the short term things that you should do are which are getting some sunshine, journaling every day, and meditation. And the next one is getting some sunshine. I personally integrate this into my lifestyle in two ways. The first one is my way of taking a break has always been stepping out of the house for a quick 5 minutes walk without any intentions, nothing. I just let my mind wander as I walk about. And the second one is a little more consistent is I sit in a park close to my house almost every day at the time of sunset. Just sit there and watch the sunset. No fancy agenda, just sit there and do nothing. That is the only objective. And both of the times, it doesn't matter how bad my day has been, I always feel better 5 minutes under the sun. However, you might think of incorporating this into your lifestyle. My recommendation is to keep your phones out of it because phones eat up a lot of your energy and bandwidth. If I have to provide you with a scientific explanation further enforce the importance of getting some sunshine, then it has to be that exposed sunlight produces more vitamin D in your body, which is nature's the most potent antidepressant and health booster. And there are numerous studies which have also shown linked depression and introduction of vitamin D into their system, which has basically showed improvement of the depressive symptoms. So on to the next one, which is meditation. Mindful meditation has to be the fastest and the most effective way to improve your mental health. My personal experience has been that I see a change in my behavior or my personality exactly on the third day of doing meditation consistently for twice a day. And the science of meditation is very clear and provides an overwhelming evidence that even at 20 minutes a day, uh, 20 minutes a day doing meditation increases happiness, vitality, emotional stability, and focus. And it also decreases irritability, anxiety, depression, blood pressure, and stress hormone cortisol. Meditation induces a psychological relaxation response in your body. Now, I'm very sure that women will not list a guy who does meditation among their preferences, but they will all appreciate the happiness, the adaptability, the resilience, awareness, and playfulness that you get from doing it. Now, moving on to how to start your meditation, I'm not going to overcomplicate this. I always like keeping routines as simple as possible so that it helps you in being consistent with them. So, this is what my recommendation is. Just download the app Medito. It's available in both Android and iOS. It's free for now, and hopefully, it will be forever because that is part of the app developer's mission. Just start doing the daily meditations for 5 to 10 minutes twice a day. Doesn't matter how effectively you are doing. It doesn't matter if you cannot focus for 10 minutes at a time. Just sit there, listen to the daily meditation tracks every day. Try to maintain that streak so that it helps you with your consistency, and trust me, you will see an impact it will have on you on the third day. Moving on to the next one, which is journaling. Talking about journaling from a perspective of mental health, which is your thoughts seem less intimidating when you put them on papers. And this has a direct effect on reducing your stress and anxiety level. Lower stress levels helps you think better and also helps you sleep better. So there are enough studies which have proven this fact. I've personally found journaling to be extremely hard because every time I try to journal, I used to like sit and look at an empty page for like few minutes and I just like move on because I never knew what to write, and the first few words are the hardest. So I started using prompts to make it easier for me to like put my thoughts down on the paper. I'll share the prompts that I use so that you can either use the same prompts or you can build your own based on the prompts which I'm sharing. The objective that I'm personally trying to achieve through these prompts are two things. The first thing is reducing the number of thoughts running in my head. And the second one would be to ground myself in that specific moment. So these are the prompts that I personally use. First one is, what am I feeling right now? The second one is, what's bothering me today? Third one is, what am I not happy about? And the last one is, how close am I towards my goal? So each prompt has a specific purpose. So the first prompt is to ground me in that moment. The second one is to ground me in that day. The third one is a reflection. And the fourth one is to gaze into the future. Again, there are numerous ways for you to do journaling. And this is just the starting point. Keep it simple but consistent. Do this every night before you sleep. It will calm you down and it will help you think less. And also, it will make you fall asleep much quicker. Now that we've discussed all the short term things, let's move on to the long term things. The reason I'm calling them as long term is because it takes a long time for you to implement them in your life. But these things have the highest and the longest effect on improving your mental health. And they are, the first one is improve your company, the friends that you hang out with. The second one is improve your work environment, which is your profession. And the third one is get a therapist if need be. So let's start with the first one, which is improve your company. You know the quote, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. It's extremely accurate. If your closest friends are depressed and anxious, how do you think you will feel after hanging out with them? Aim to spend more time with people who have an uplifting view towards life. And I know it's not an easy task and that it will take some time for you to make new friends. But what you can do certainly and immediately is list these depressed and anxious friends of yours and just stop hanging out with them immediately. One of the mistakes that I've made, and I'm pretty sure everyone else have made, is that we have a strong but a false sense of loyalty towards our friends. And we are scared of making new friends as it involves like actual hard work to do it. But you have to do this. It's a necessary action which is part of your progress. Let me walk you through a simple exercise on how to find who these people are in your life. List the 5 people you spent the most time in the last 30 days. Add plus against the person who made you happy. Add a minus against the person who made you miserable. So the simple exercise is this: spend less time with the people with the minus on their name and spend more time with people who have the plus on their name. Simple as that. Okay, so this is the next one, which is improving your workplace. You spend roughly 9 hours, 5 to 6 days a week in your workplace. If you're miserable and stuck in a toxic work environment for 9 hours for most days of the week, then there is absolutely nothing that you can do in the remaining part of your life to improve your mental health. And this has to be an extremely difficult course of action that you can take, but it's also one of the most vital one. But before I can walk you through this, let's define what a toxic work environment is, because this word is being thrown around nowadays a little too much, and I have 5 specific parameters that I use to assess if a workplace is toxic. Are you working longer than 10 hours every day? If it's an occasional thing, then it's fine. When I say occasional, it needs to be less than 2 to 3 working days in a month. Not even that. Less than 2 to 3 working days. Does your manager or supervisor scream at you? Are you expected to work on weekends? Do they compartmentalize the workforce or frown upon you for being friends with your coworkers? Does everyone just rely on office politics and not on their core competencies? If you answered yes to 3 of these 5 questions, then you are in a toxic work environment and you really need to get out of this place. As mentioned before, this is one of the most extremely challenging courses of action that you need to take. Hence, the process for making improvements has an elaborate number of steps, which would take an entirely separate video for me to discuss it. And I will do an entirely separate video on how to change your job and how to negotiate salary. Consider subscribing if you're interested in learning about that. But in the meantime, let's move on to the next one, which is getting a therapist. Talking about getting a therapist. So, this is one of the things which can be a little tricky to figure out when it comes to mental health is the cause of it or the originating point of it. Because numerous reasons can lead to bad mental health. And one of these many things is a genetic component of mental health. Let's say you've done everything that I've mentioned in this video at this point of time and you are still feeling depressed, then there might be a genetic component to this, which goes extremely deep into your personality. And there are enough studies that have been done to prove the genetics has a say in your mental health. In a situation like this, you would need a professional help. Hence, you should think about approaching a therapist. But before you go ahead and start looking up therapist closest to you, understand that a good therapist can help you and a bad therapist can break you down even more. I've personally seen my friends get worse after therapy. Hence, I would like to say a few words of caution before you get therapy. First one is take a referral. Don't just go and start talking to any random therapist that you will find online. Ask your friends if they can give you a reference. There are many public and anonymous communities such as meetup groups, Discord groups, and WhatsApp groups that you can use to find a referral. The next one is exercise critical thinking, right? Once you have found a therapist, don't just trust him blindly. Exercise critical thinking at least for the initial 5 sessions. Ask yourself if the things that he or she is recommending make sense to you. Question it yourself to see if it aligns with your own personal belief system. Because I personally know therapists who have trivialized extreme trauma cases and make it look like it was all in your head or that the patient was basically blowing it out of proportion. So be cautious, at least for the initial 5 sessions minimum. And the next thing is feel free to change the therapist. As I mentioned before, a good therapist can help you, but a bad therapist can break you down. Hence, don't feel that you owe the therapist anything. If you're not finding the sessions helpful, look for a different therapist. It's absolutely fine. Now, once you've followed all the things discussed in this video for like fairly long period of time, you would have seen an improvement in your mental health. And hence now it's time for you to display that. I've personally figured out that there are 4 ways to show your mental health. And I don't mean that you boast about taking therapy. I've seen guys do that. It doesn't work. Let me walk you through each and every one of them in this segment. First one is be happy. When I say be happy, what I specifically mean is do things that make you happy and do more of it. If you like coffee, go on a hunt to find the coffee which you love. If you like riding motorcycles, then make more time to do that. Once you've figured out the things that you enjoy doing and derive genuine happiness out of, bring the women into it. This has to be one of the most effective ways of displaying your state of mind. How can you be unhappy when you are doing the thing that you enjoy doing? And it doesn't have to be something fancy. One of the things that I do where I find genuine happiness is sitting in a park or a lake and watching the sky. And every time I've taken a woman out on a walk in a park where we just sat down and watched the sky, it had an amazing effect on them. We've always come back smiling, more happier than we were. So find out what it is that you enjoy doing and figure out how to bring the women into your life. Okay, so the next one is be funny. This has to be one of the most challenging aspects of dating for men. So let me simplify it. There are 2 easiest ways of being funny, which are either make jokes or tell funny stories. If being funny isn't really your strong suit, then my recommendation would be to go with telling funny stories and not making jokes. And the reason is it'll give you time to prepare. You don't have to think quickly, and you can also test how your stories works with different people. You can reuse the same story with multiple people. So just take a couple of your own funny experience from your life and then turn them into a story that you can actually tell people. So now if you're feeling adventurous, then you can go with telling jokes. If so, then keep one rule in mind, which is always tell the joke at your own expense and never at the expense of others, especially never at the expense of the girl that you're interested in. And the next one is be open. Men who are depressed get stuck in a rut. Socially anxious guys don't want to meet new people. Paranoid guys don't want to go to new places. Being open to trying new things shows that your ability to judge risk rationally and also your emotional resilience if things go wrong. Hence, be open to trying out new things. Visit a new bar, new restaurant, new movies, different kinds of music. Trying new things makes it keep a relationship exciting for a longer period of time, which is what all women want in their partner. So, in summary, eat right, sleep longer, work out, get some sunshine, do meditation, journal for short term and immediate results. For long term results, improve your friend circle, improve your work environment, and get a therapist if need be. And if you find value in this video, consider liking it. It definitely helps a ton. And if you like this type of content, consider subscribing it. It helps even more. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video where we discuss the attractive trait, which is intelligence.